You getting it, you big dosser? Dosser. You big stiff dosser, you get...
Limbs. I'm talking you're going to lose your ankle, your knee, your arm, you're going to...
Tyson Fury sends a clear warning to Anthony Joshua in a live clip, telling him to stay sharp and be cautious because Jake Paul could be more dangerous than people expect. Fury's delivery is serious and deliberate, putting Joshua on alert and reminding him that even a YouTuber stepping into the ring can't be taken lightly.
That man. You gotta hit that joint. You know,
Eddie Hearn fires back at Tyson Fury's warning by zeroing in on Jake Paul's clear limitations. He makes it plain that Paul is still average and largely untested at the highest level, suggesting Fury's caution isn't just empty talk. Eddie points out that stepping in with someone like Anthony Joshua would fully expose those gaps, reinforcing the idea that Paul would be in real danger once the bell rings.
Average, you're not.
It's not true. I just beat a 5-time world champion.
UFC.
You don't even know. You don't know my ability though.
That's true. That's true.
You don't.
That's true. I don't know where you might go. I just give you where I think you're at, which I'm entitled to, which is.
Carl Froch doesn't sugarcoat it as he breaks things down, putting a harsh spotlight on the massive gap between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. He reminds everyone that Paul has never shared the ring with a true heavyweight and even had problems against Tommy Fury, who's a cruiserweight at best. For Froch, the idea of underestimating Joshua in this situation is laughable, making it clear that Paul would be stepping into waters far deeper than he's ever known.
Punching heavyweight, and fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level. So you can't chuck fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua and take it serious. Why?
Eddie Hearn spells it out with no filter, warning Jake Paul that stepping in with Anthony Joshua is nothing like anything he's faced before. He makes it clear that AJ has the kind of power that can end a fight in an instant, and that Paul would be walking straight into serious danger. Hearn's message drives home the massive gap in experience and skill, showing that Paul may be believing his own hype a little too much when it comes to a true heavyweight champion. The risk is enormous, and no amount of promotion can change the harsh reality of Joshua's strength, timing, and precision.
Like that. But I said to Jake Paul, you ain't in a box, mate, and this ain't David Blaine. I said, so just be careful, because AJ will take your head clean off your shoulders, and it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And you take on that responsibility, and we all have to, so we got to think about that. But this is Anthony fighting a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. It's not something that we would normally do.
Sam Jones brings it back to reality, reminding everyone that Anthony Joshua's power is genuinely world-class. When he compares what could happen to Jake Paul to the brutal knockout Joshua delivered to Francis Ngannou, it suddenly clicks just how dangerous this matchup really is. That comparison isn't hype, it's a warning, and it's one that can't be ignored. One clean shot, one small mistake, and everything could be over in an instant. This isn't about entertainment or showmanship anymore. This is real risk, standing across from a true heavyweight with proven knockout power, and for Paul, there's absolutely no margin for error.
We can all joke, but nobody wants any permanent damage to happen to Jake Paul. But if Anthony Joshua hits Jake Paul with the right hand he hit Francis Ngannou with, he could brown bread him.
Usyk's statement captures the full intensity Anthony Joshua brings whenever he steps into the ring. He points out that Joshua is laser-focused and relentless when his goal is domination, and that any casual warnings aren't exaggeration. The part about praying for Jake Paul underscores just how outmatched he truly is. Usyk's acknowledgement of the danger reinforces that this isn't just another fight. Joshua's mindset is all business, operating at maximum output, leaving Paul with almost no room for error if he underestimates the sheer power and skill of his opponent.
Business, more money, only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want to fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Garrett Kazora doesn't hold back, calling this an easy outing for Anthony Joshua. He makes it clear that Joshua won't toy around or hold anything back. He'll deliver a decisive, dominant performance. The way Kazora describes Joshua smoking Jake Paul is a blunt warning. Paul is completely out of his depth. He confirms what everyone in the boxing world is already thinking. Joshua's experience, power, and technical skill make the mismatch obvious, and no amount of Paul's bravado can cover the huge gap in ability and strength.
Easy fight for him, and I think they should be laid to rest because
I don't think AJ's gonna go in and try and pat. AJ's gonna smoke him.
Even Jake Paul acknowledges the danger Anthony Joshua presents, calling him an animal and showing a rare, genuine sense of fear. In that moment of honesty, it's clear that deep down, Paul understands he's facing a force far beyond his experience. No matter the hype or social media bravado, Joshua's mere presence intimidates and demands respect. Paul's fear underscores the enormous gap between a true, world-class heavyweight and a celebrity fighter stepping into territory he's never truly navigated.
And a fight for AJ, very little risk, extremely little risk, and a big reward. I mean, why would you not take it? But as a fight fan, I thought it was a farce. I mean, Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul. It may not be, it may be a little while back, but still, he hasn't improved that much. And he hasn't been fighting anybody that's posed a problem for him.
Johnny Nelson puts it bluntly, pointing out that Jake Paul's confidence is dangerously close to delusion. Anthony Joshua, a two-time heavyweight champion, doesn't toy with opponents. He fights to dominate. Nelson emphasizes that Paul's antics and showmanship mean nothing once the gloves are on against a seasoned professional. The talk of massive purses shows that Paul's motivation leans more toward money than mastery. This matchup is about raw power, experience, and sharp ring intelligence. Joshua doesn't play lightly, he finishes fights. For Paul, this isn't entertainment. It's a brutal reality check, one he may not walk away from unscathed.
Jake Paul is crazy. If he thinks he can get it with Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, and play tiddlywinks, I don't think AJ plays touch. He plays knock the F out.
Simon Jordan calls Jake Paul's choice to fight Anthony Joshua completely absurd, highlighting the massive gap in skill and experience between them. He points out that Joshua's previous loss to Daniel Dubois doesn't take away from his abilities. He remains a physically dominant heavyweight capable of executing his game plan. While the mental aspect is noted, Jordan stresses that any challenges Joshua faces are minor compared to the danger he presents to Paul. This underscores just how foolish it is for Paul to step into the ring, facing an opponent who is both technically and physically superior, with experience far outweighing any hype or social media bravado.
Financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the...
Tommy Fury puts Jake Paul's situation into sharp perspective, showing that even a moderately skilled fighter can recognize just how outmatched Paul is. The exaggeration that Anthony Joshua could beat him in under a minute drives home the terrifying reality of this matchup. Fury's comments on AJ's dominance reflect what most in boxing believe. Paul is stepping into a fight far beyond his abilities. Joshua's skill, power, and experience create a scenario where Paul's only hope is sheer luck. This insight reinforces the mismatch, proving that hype and bravado count for nothing when facing a true heavyweight champion.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go.
Spencer Oliver delivers a blunt warning about the real dangers Jake Paul faces against Anthony Joshua. He references Joshua's dominant victory over Francis Ngannou, a fighter from another discipline, to show just how threatening Joshua can be. Oliver highlights that Paul's only credible boxing experience ended in a loss to Tommy Fury, proving he hasn't faced anyone near Joshua's level. This starkly exposes Paul's inexperience and reinforces that no amount of hype can change the harsh reality of stepping into the ring with a seasoned, world-class heavyweight.
Jake Paul, that's all I can say. We saw that what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. He went out there and iced him in a couple of rounds. A guy coming from a different discipline. Well, this kid's coming from another level. You know, white-collar boxing in 2018, gone through the mill, and the only boxer really that he's actually boxed, a legitimate boxer he got beat by, and that was in Tommy Fury.
David Benz acknowledges Jake Paul's courage, but emphasizes just how dangerous this fight truly is. He predicts a likely knockout, not out of malice, but because of Anthony Joshua's undeniable skill and experience. Benz highlights Joshua's credentials as a multi-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist, underscoring the huge gap between them. Paul's reputation as a showman doesn't hold up against the reality of facing a true heavyweight champion. The commentary reinforces that Joshua's technical ability, power, and pedigree make this fight extremely perilous for anyone unproven at this level.
I give 100%, respect to Jake Paul, but that's a dangerous fight for him. He probably gets knocked out, and I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not saying nothing bad, but Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, he's multiple-time champion.
Devin Haney perfectly captures the shock rippling through the boxing world over Jake Paul's decision. He emphasizes Anthony Joshua's status as a world-class fighter, a proven champion whose every punch carries real threat. Haney's astonishment mirrors what many feel. Paul is seriously overstepping his abilities. This isn't some friendly sparring session. Joshua is one of the most dangerous heavyweights in the sport, with every move calculated and every punch packed with power. Paul's bravado won't protect him. Stepping into the ring with Joshua is a massive gamble, and Haney's commentary drives home just how reckless Paul's choice truly is.
I was surprised that Jake took the fight rather than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is one of the best fighters in the world. He's a solidified champion. But I'm surprised that Jake took the fight and is fighting a guy that's so dangerous like Anthony Joshua. So I got to take my hat off to him. Because we were saying that, he's fighting this person past their prime, this person's old and this and whatnot, and now he's fighting.
Anthony Joshua's words reveal a champion fully focused on progress and dominance. He isn't distracted by Jake Paul's hype or showmanship, instead concentrating on sharpening his skill, building strength, and strengthening his mental resilience. His training in Dallas shows a commitment to pushing limits and elevating performance to the highest level. Joshua's mindset is what separates true champions from mere entertainers. While Paul thrives on social media stunts and public antics, Joshua is methodically preparing to display his peak ability. This commentary underscores the stark contrast between a calculated, world-class heavyweight and a YouTube fighter chasing fame. Paul is utterly outmatched, both mentally and physically.
So everyone back home would be like, so what did you do on Thursday? You had the day off, and it's like, it's a day off, but it's a day off to get ready for the day on.
So there we have it. Back on my feet. I got through the pain of the blister. Back to work.
Carl Froch lays out the brutal reality Jake Paul is walking into. Anthony Joshua's confidence and focus reveal a man set on domination, not playing around. Froch highlights that Joshua's time away from the ring has only sharpened him, making him more dangerous and strategic than ever. Paul's lack of fights, ranking, and genuine experience marks him as an easy target for a heavyweight champion performing at his peak. Joshua views this as both a professional opportunity and a showcase of his supremacy. This commentary reinforces that hype and media attention can't hide the truth. Paul is stepping into a fight far beyond his ability, facing a relentless, merciless champion.
Anthony Joshua said, Jake or anyone can get this work, no mercy. I took some time out. I'm coming back with the mega show. It's a big opportunity for me, whether you like it or not. I'm here to do massive numbers, have big fights and break every record whilst keeping cool, calm and collected. So chill in it. I mean, come on, he's jumping in with fake Paul, who has no experience and no fights and no world ranking at heavyweight. Easy work, easy money.
Logan Paul's description perfectly captures the massive gap between Anthony Joshua and himself. He portrays Joshua as nearly flawless, packed with experience, raw power, and technical mastery, a true gladiator at his peak. In contrast, Paul's lack of exposure to real heavyweight competition stands out sharply against Joshua's record of knocking out elite opponents. The commentary makes it clear that no amount of hype or social media clout can replace genuine skill and experience. Joshua is built for this sport, mentally and physically, while Paul is still learning, making this matchup extremely lopsided and dangerously challenging for him.
Experience difference, Anthony Joshua is a former heavyweight champion who's knocked out heavyweight champions.
Has he ever tried like Ozempic or Manjaro?
This is a guy who is already perfect.
Okay.
He's perfect.
Okay.
He's like, if you could sculpt like a perfect gladiator human being, it's Anthony Joshua.
The stakes in this fight couldn't be higher as Anthony Joshua faces off against Jake Paul. Joshua, a former two-time heavyweight champion and Olympic gold medalist, brings experience, power, and elite skill to every exchange. Each punch is measured and precise, and his mental toughness is unmatched. A victory for Joshua would cement his legacy as one of the greatest heavyweights of his era and serve as a stark reminder not to underestimate him. On the flip side, if Jake Paul pulls off a shock, it would go down as one of boxing's most monumental upsets. The odds are heavily against him, given Joshua's superior experience, technique, and conditioning, but fans must also consider who truly wants him more inside the ring. Joshua has shown unwavering dedication, focus, and a relentless drive to improve. Are you siding with Anthony Joshua or rooting for Jake Paul to stun the world? Share your thoughts below and join the debate.